Okay, so I'm weighing out grains for my next batch of beer. So far I have 5 pounds of Munich Malt weighed out, and I'm going to be adding 8 more pounds of pale, just 2-row Breiss malt. It's both are kind of used as base malts, but Munich will add a little darker, kind of a caramely color, and just a more bodied beer. Super light, just something to throw in the keg, and we'll see how this goes. But yeah, I'm just going to weigh out the last 8 pounds of pale malt. Alright, so this makes 7 pounds. I'm going to run this through the mill real quick. Cordless drill. Using the hand crank, I can only imagine how long this would take. Okay, so I'm just going to run this through. You'll be able to see why having a drill is a big advantage, because alright. Probably shouldn't be doing that inside. There's a lot of dust involved. But there's all my grains. I'm going to go ahead and get those set up. Alright, so I have my mash water going into my boil kettle, and I'm going to be getting about 4.5 gallons to start the initial mash, and then bleed off into the hot liquor tank for the strike water. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to be putting my grains into my mash tun that I preheated with a bunch of water out of the tap. 6 pounds of pale 2-row pilsner, and then 4 pounds of Munich, or maybe 5 pounds of Munich. I'll have to check. Alright, so our strike water is up to temperature, and I'm going to go ahead and pour it into the mash tun. Okay, so all of our grains are in and our strike water is in. I'm going to seal it up and start the timer for 60 minutes. Alright, so I did my Vorlauf, and this is my first runnings. Color looks about right from what I saw on Beersmith, and it's the grains we're working with now. So should be a pretty good batch, and I'll get back with you when it's time to start the boil and stuff like that. Alright, so it looks like we're about to wrap up the first runnings off of this batch, and then I'm going to do a batch sparge. My temperature on my strike water, my sparge water is right at 160, so that should be just about right. I'm going to top it off, stir it, re-Vorlauf, and then just send it into my boil kettle. So I'll try to keep that in frame, see if y'all can see everything. This is only 12 pounds of grains, or I think it's 11 pounds of grains, I'm not sure. Munich and 2-row. So nothing special. But I was just looking for like a good basic beer to throw in my keg and just drink at my leisure. quite a bit of sediment in there. I like to just pour on top of my spoon. So I just ordered my hydrometer so I can get better readings. Basically, I'm just going to pull a small batch off of this one and do a pre-boil. Well, actually no, I'll just do a starting specific gravity and then a final gravity. Alright, so this is the end of my sparge, and I'm going to go ahead and shut it off. I'm about at my pre-boil volume. It's really close to the top, so this is going to be a stressful first few minutes of the boil. Get the flame started and off to the races as we go. This is what I'm talking about. You gotta cut back the heat a lot. It's starting to foam up. Alright, I'm going to dump my first ounce of hops. This first ounce is going to be half an ounce of Citra and half an ounce of Cascade. Just saw a mosquito landing there, it's kind of gross. Alright, here we go. 60-minute addition. Okay, so 40 minutes into the boil, I'm going to add a half ounce of Cascade. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pitch the Warflock tablet. Get that all boiled in, 15 minutes. I have my wort chiller. And at 10 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in just to get it sanitized. Cleaned it really well last time, so it should be good to go on there. But yeah, so we'll get it going. Okay, so that's our final addition. Going in, it's an ounce of Czech Saaz hops. Right in there, and then the ounce of Cascade. That green goodness. Since that's 10 minutes left in the boil, after I stir this in, I'm going to put in the wort chiller as well. It usually cools it off quite a bit right at first. Okay, so that's it. That's the whole boil, and that's my batch of beer. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the flame and turn on the wort chiller. Okay, so I'm going to be bottling or kegging my all grain recipe that was most recent. I'm having to be pretty quiet because my wife is asleep. But I'm going to siphon from the carboy into the keg and show you all every step of how to do that. So here we go. So that's the finished sealed keg, and I have it carbonating right now. So we're good to go.